When you think of union protests, you think pickets at a construction entrance, union members blocking a delivery truck, even security guards getting shoved, assault if things get really heated. Then there was the incident where the crowbar smashed the car window. But did you know that construction company owners and managers say union activity is targeting their private homes? Their family members and children have been harassed and intimidated. And it's all legal under a quirk in Pennsylvania law that allows union members involved in a labor dispute to be exempt from certain criminal laws that all others must follow.
One of my children told me that, they were being photographed at their bus stop. There were subsequent incidents where I was videotaped by union-affiliated contractors at their sporting events.
Serena Rose is vice president at Post Brothers, which is constructing a high-rise in Philadelphia. The company says it hires union and non-union based on merit. For 2 years, as the Gold Tex apartment building goes up, employees' families have been harassed. A man hired to provide executive protection by Post Brothers says it's been really brutal for one owner's wife every time she leaves their home.
And when she would come out to load her child into the car, they would yell vulgar profanities and, all kinds of things while she's carrying a small child, and she's 8 months pregnant.
The owner's wife dodges the union protesters' spit. She's been followed to the daycare, and she's had flyers with her photo and sexual references distributed in her neighborhood.
A man wouldn't do that. Someone less would.
Trying to intimidate a child is way above the line. It just makes no sense.
For 2 years, the Gold Tex employees and workers have dealt with the union's heavy-handed ways. But recently, Serena says she was harassed in a luncheonette half a block from the construction site by this man, ironworker business agent Edward Sweeney. The scene inside began when she walked in, and she says Sweeney shouted that she was a scab and used the F word.
I went up to the counter to pay, and the next thing I know, he's right behind me. He's arm in arm with me, behind me, he's touching me, and he called me a sexual slur. It was shocking that a business agent of his stature would feel so above the law to push me up against a counter and do that.
Serena says Sweeney made a threatening gesture when she left work that day.
Bang, 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 shooting me as I was leaving the site, motioned with his black gloved hand.
It turns out when the district attorney prosecuted the case here at Philadelphia's municipal court, Sweeney was in fact above the law. The union leader's attorney argued that even if his client was guilty of harassment, the Pennsylvania law allows him to be exempt from criminal law. So all the charges were tossed out. State Representative Ron Miller wants to pass a bill that stops giving unions a free pass to commit crimes and be free of legal consequences.
I'm not quite sure why it was originally passed, but makes no sense. Why should anybody be exempted from the laws that apply to harassment, stalking, threatening to use weapons of mass destruction?
And it's not just Philadelphia. Another construction company owner and his wife have also been targeted at their Reading area home by a union. Barry and Deb Schlau have had union flyers with the couple's photos posted on 150 neighbors' doors repeatedly over 2 years. They accuse the couple of treating their workers poorly, destroying the American dream, and they call Barry a creep. Does exempting unions from harassment and stalking laws in any way encourage even more serious criminal behavior? Rob Reeves, who owns an open construction company, thinks so.
The weeks leading up to the incident, I think about 4 or 5 different unions had visited the site. On the Monday beforehand, a representative from the ironworkers was on site, and as he was leaving the site, he said to my project superintendent, as he was leaving, I got to do what I got to do.
No person has been identified or charged with the crime.
Torched the crane, they burned the cab of the crane, and in about 12 locations, they cut with an acetylene torch the steel columns that were holding up the structure. They cut the anchor bolts and they unloosened anchor bolts in an attempt to possibly have the building fall down or the structural steel fall down.
The Pennsylvania legislature is expected to hear the bill repealing the exemption for unions from harassment and stalking laws again this year. This report is brought to you by the National Federation of Independent Business, NFIB, Pennsylvania.